Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. I'm not quite sure what to call this gesture, but that's how I'm feeling about 2023. Feel free to leave a comment if you can give a name to this gesture. Let's do it again. Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. You know what? Next week I'm going to be playing with anodizing titanium. I just ordered a bunch of sheet titanium. I'll probably get some adhesive and cut out a shape like this and tape it onto the titanium plate and then anodize the rest of the sheet, right? So because that's how I've been feeling about 2023. It was the best year of my life, and it was the worst year of my life. And if I had to describe 2023 metaphorically, the best description I could have is imagine you're on a runaway train wreck or you're in the middle of a plane crash, but such beautiful scenery outside, right? Just everything just going out of control, but at the same time, beautiful scenery. That's how I've been feeling all year round in 2023. I started the year working at a toxic job, but I really loved all of our clients. And so it created a lot of rift. I was working at a tutoring center. Oftentimes, I didn't get respected because of my differences in lifestyle, in sexual orientation, in uh, differences in ways that I uh, enjoy my personal life. And it didn't jibe with the flow of the rest of the office. And oftentimes, I got all the shittiest hours, the shittiest assignments. But at the same time, I loved all of our students. Actually, something happened a couple days ago that made it brought tears to my eyes. I was shopping at the uh, Fashion Square Mall. I like to pitch my art to various vendors here, and as I was doing that, I ran into a former student of mine and his parents, and his parents were telling me what the kid is up to these days. He's graduating soon and all that. And so, you see, I never had any trouble with the students. It's just the opposite. Oftentimes, what the students and their families like, the boss has a problem with, right? The boss, our boss didn't like it when I gave examples that were too adult like, right? So, for example, I would be teaching math and I would explain how why certain investments work the way they do. And my boss got very concerned that I was talking about material that was too grown up for the kids. One time I was teaching chemistry and I was discussing various chemistry experiments that I had done. I think what I described was my bismuth pouring and how to take slag and reduce it back to bismuth metal. And my boss didn't like the example. He thought that he didn't want to encourage the kids to try any of these things at home because some of the kids might not be as safety oriented as I am. And I knew the kids wouldn't try it at home. I just wanted to bring the topic alive for the kids, right? Otherwise, on their paper, they just see this reacts with that. They have no idea what those letters mean, right? I wanted to give life to the subject on hand, is what I wanted to do. And the parents never had a problem. Actually, I only had one time the parents complained. And this time, my boss actually didn't complain. I was teaching about exponential growth, and I suggested that if you live to be 400 years old and your money could keep growing at whatever percent, you could own the world after 400 years. And the kid's mom got very upset at that subject. Actually, the kid did too. I didn't see it. The reason being that they had just lost their grandmother. She was 80 some years old, and now the kid is hearing about the idea of living to be 100, 200, 300 years old. And the mom said that my kid doesn't want to think about having cancer for 300 years and then dying at the end of it. And even then, I accepted that, obviously. But I'm thinking, God, how miseducated are we? Living to 400 doesn't mean that you get cancer when you're 80 years old and then you just spend centuries in your deathbed, right? I wouldn't want to live to be 400 if that's what it entailed. It means that instead of getting cancer at 80, maybe you get it when you're 350 years old. Right? How stupid are we as a culture, right? Anyway, but so I you know, so I left that job. Actually, it's kind of funny. In the weeks leading up to leaving that job, I had just started interviewing here at GCU and at Phoenix College. I was getting a lot of phone calls during that time. And one day during one of the classes, I quickly looked at the phone call. And after class, my boss was really upset, asking me not to use my phone during the class time. And I apologized to my boss, and then I went up to apologize to my student before he left. He was 16, 17 years old, I want to say. And when I did that, the student said, "No, you're fine. I didn't even notice that." And so here I am. My boss is complaining about something that none of our students noticed, and it's just really frustrating. It just makes the work a lot heavier than it has to be, right? That's the theme that I ran into at the tutoring center. Oh, the last straw that made me finally check out was that one day, well, we were getting ready for winter vacation, and I wanted to know when my boss would be going away because I really disliked him. And the reason I wanted to know when he would be going away is so that I wouldn't coincide my vacation with his, right? That would be a loss, right? I wanted him to go away and then me to go away at a different week so that I would feel like I had two vacations, right? So I was trying to ask him about that. I was trying to pretend to be friendly. Hey, how's your family doing? When are you going home to? What are you going to do with your family during Christmas time? I was hoping he would leak out some information, and he didn't want to talk about it. And so one day, he said he didn't have any plans. He doesn't know, and he was very vague about it. And one day, he goes to run an errand and asked me to teach a student he had on his computer. It was remote, and as I'm doing that, I snooped around his email and I found an email from him to a family member asking his family member to pick him up at a certain airport at a certain time. So I figured out when he was telling me he has no idea when he's going on vacation. And just the fact that he would lie to me, really, had he just said that he doesn't want to talk about his personal life, I may have accepted that a little bit better. Oh, there's another lie I discovered. He said he didn't know about my scheduling. See, I wanted to know what I'm scheduled for during that Christmas week, right? So I can plan around that, and he tells me he doesn't know the schedule and all that. And I saw his beautiful schedule on his computer, and I completely lost it when I saw that because he lied to me. Had he said that, it's company policy not to share that or anything else other than it might change or, whatever, right? Had he said anything like that? Basically, he wants us to be available 24/7 and only pay for the hours that he needs. That's what it is, right? And being lied to is something I don't take very lightly, right? I'd much rather deal with an insult than that, right? Anyway, so I left and I started teaching here in at Phoenix College, and then things started to rush up against me too fast. I really love both of these jobs. Unfortunately, sometimes they come at me a little bit faster than I would hope. And then I developed long COVID, unfortunately. I recovered from COVID back in May, but for several months, every day I would wake up feeling like I was stuffed and I had no appetite. Oh, I wish I could lose my appetite. I need to lose 30 pounds. Oh, yeah, you need to eat less. You don't need to lose your appetite with it. That's like saying, that's like saying, gee, I have a toxic relationship with the girl. I wish something bad would happen to the girl. No, you don't. You just wish to separate from the girl. That's all, right? Unless she's really being a problem, right? But anyway, and then every day I would wake up stuffed, no appetite. And then sometimes on top of that, my work sometimes here doesn't allow for me to eat whenever I want to. And my appetite comes back when I don't have access to the food. And I really love all of my students. At least here we don't have a toxic boss, right? All we have is just a lot of busy work. Our grade books are really messy to work with. I've kind of quiet quit on trying to deal with that anymore, right? As long as the students know where they are, I'm not going to stress if the grade book looks all wonky and stuff. And I had a lot of difficulty finding people to play various board games with me, and it's really killing my spirit to program AI for those games. I'm going to have to think hard on what to do there. I'm kind of taking a break away from that. Lately, I've been eating a lot at the dining hall here at GCU. Not that the food's any good or anything. I do find a few foods that are suitable for me, but just to be able to say hello to the cooks there, to the cashier there, oh my God, brings me so much joy. It's kind of an expensive way to say hello to people, though. That's the problem. Not to mention, I do want to meet that special somebody in my a non-romantic life partner. And when I do that, if I'm having this much trouble affording a tab for one, oh my God, when it's a tab for two, I'm gonna have to think hard on what to do there, right? So this whole year has been just one unmitigated, beautiful train wreck, right? That's the weirdness of it all, right? Unfortunately, the last couple of years have all had their weird themes, right? In 2019, I had thought that it was the end of my life as a single guy. I was saying goodbye to my single life. That was it was one of these things again, right? 2020 was probably the only good year I had in recent times where I actually got accepted for, or didn't have to deal with not being accepted for who I am. Got to live where I wanted to live, work where I wanted to work. 2021, I had to deal with just, going back to various events and dealing with prejudices there. 2022, I landed the toxic job, and 2023 is this beautiful train wreck, right? Is how I would describe it. You're on a train that's going out of control, but at the same time, the scenery is beautiful, right? That's about as best as I can describe. The year 2018, I was grappling with binge eating disorder. I lost a job over it, right? Just a messy last couple of years, right? This is the Peter Dislike Show. Bum, 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum, 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 bum.